Hi everybody, it's Danica here. Today's video is going to center around scissor cutting skills or pre-cutting skills. Scissor cutting basically consists of two different skills. One is mastering grasp and release or squeezing, and the second one is mastering the ability to cut on a line. So when a student is first learning how to cut, it is important for them to master the ability to grasp and release in order to build up the thumb side of their hand, which is important for scissor cutting. There are many different activities that you can do with your student at home to help them master the ability to grasp and release or squeeze or open and close their hand, which will simulate the motion that they use when using scissors. So I walked around my house and I looked for items I had readily available in the house that I could use to practice squeeze and release. And I actually found quite a few of them. The first one I came across was a squeeze bottle. And this one can be used empty and just practice the motion, or you can put water in it and play with it in the bathtub or outside. Another one that I have is an empty condiment bottle. And you can use the ones that you have in the refrigerator and wash them out if they're empty. Again, you can practice squeeze and release with this one by putting water in it and playing in the bathtub, playing outside with it. Or you can play games with it with cotton balls or ping pong balls and squeezing and shooting them down a table. Another one that I had was a turkey baster. Again, you can play games with it by blowing cotton balls or ping pong balls, or you can transfer water from one bowl to the next, or you can play with it in the bathtub. If this is really easy, you can also use an eyedropper if you have an eyedropper around. Again, it's the same motion of squeeze and release. I also have salad tongs. Again, you're working on opening and closing, squeeze and release. You can use this to transfer objects from one place to another, or just pick things up and put it into a bowl. Now if they're really skilled, you can get smaller tongs, and you're going to pretty much do the same thing. It's just grasp and release and practicing using the thumb side of your hand. Or if you don't have tongs, you can also use eyebrow tweezers. Again, you're concentrating on using the index finger and the thumb for squeeze and release. Another item that's pretty versatile that you can use to practice squeeze and release or open and close are clothespins. Clothespins are great for, you can pick up items with them. You can put them on the side of a coffee can or a cardboard box or even a heavy piece of paper. One of the first pre-cutting skills to learn is actually ripping or tearing paper. This lets them practice a nice tripod grip, and it also has them moving their hands in opposite directions at the same time, which helps to develop bilateral coordination. They can rip shopping bags, junk mail, pieces of paper, anything you can find around the house that they can have fun tearing. So they're just going to practice tearing pieces of paper. I would use small strips to begin with, and then once they become successful at that, you can move on to larger pieces of paper and have them practice ripping larger pieces of paper. Again, it has the hands moving in the opposite direction, which will eventually help with guiding your paper as you're cutting and object rotation. The next thing we're going to look at is proper positioning of the scissors in your child's hand. So you want them to place their thumb in the smaller hole. The middle finger is going to be in the big hole with the index finger on the outside for extra support and to guide and steer. And your last two fingers, your ring finger and your pinky finger, are going to be tucked into the palm of the hand. The most important thing when learning how to cut is you always want thumbs up. So you want your students to be able to see their thumb. Once the fingers are positioned correctly in the scissors, you want to make sure their hands are properly positioned. And that's always thumbs up. That's for both the cutting hand and the helper hand. You always want to be able to see their thumbs. Now, as a fun reminder, you can put stickers on their thumbs and remind them to be able to see the stickers. Or if you don't have stickers, you can always draw a happy face on their thumb, just as a gentle reminder to keep their thumbs up. If they're having a hard time remembering to put their thumb into the smaller hole, you can always use masking tape, duct tape, electrical tape, and tape around the smaller hole as a reminder of where they put their thumb. You also want to make sure that when the scissors are positioned in their hand, that the loops fall on the middle knuckle for better open and closing. If the scissors are all the way down to the far knuckles, it makes it very difficult to open and close. So again, they want to rest on that middle knuckle. Now, once you move to using scissors, some of your kiddos may become frustrated because they're having a difficult time opening and closing the scissors. So initially you may have to assist them by helping them open their hand so they can concentrate just on snipping. So they may need assistance to open, and then all they have to do is snip. Now, before moving on to paper, students can practice their cutting skills on smaller items for more success. What I have here is Play-Doh, and it's an awesome material for them to practice their cutting. The biggest thing is to remember that you want whatever they're cutting off the table and tilted upwards. When kids first learn how to cut, they tend to nosedive and cut down, or they like to stabilize on the table. You want to make sure that the object is pointed up, and they're just going to practice and play with cutting Play-Doh. Now, for a little bit more resistance, another item that you can practice with is a straw, and just have them snip the straw. They might think it's funny that all the pieces fly all over the room as they cut it. You can save these pieces for later on and have them practice stringing with the small pieces. I hope this video helped you get started with cutting skills with your child. In the next video, we will talk about the progression of cutting skills, starting with snipping and following the milestones up to cutting out basic shapes. Have a nice day.